Colton, ready?
Okay with that?
We'll call to order the Bryant Planning Commission meeting of May the 12th, 2025. And have a roll call.
Roll call, Stanton,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes. I'm sorry. I thought you said Johnson. Here.
Edwards,
Here.
Irwin, absent. Speed,
Here.
Putin,
Here.
Penfield.
Here. We have a quorum, so we will proceed. Tonight's meeting, we have minutes in your packet that were from the April the 14th, 2025 meeting.
I move they be accepted.
Second.
We have a motion and second. Any discussion? All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, and don't know, we have an announcement to vote tomorrow. Any other announcements, Colton?
Not this time.
Ed?
We did go through the selection process for our RFQ on our comprehensive growth plan. The two leading firms were Garver and Craft and Toll. I think we sent out an email stating that. The intention is that at our next planning meeting, we'll have them do a presentation, which will finalize the selection, and for them to show back at the council meeting for their selection. So, with the intention that come July, we kick that off.
Good meeting, good
Good deal.
submittals.
It was.
Yeah. So thank you, Ted. All right, Andrea, if you'll read our DRC report tonight.
Okay. Collective Church, Marketplace East Subdivision, Lot 4. Richardson Engineering requesting recommendation for site plan approval. Ward 2, recommended approval contingent upon remaining items being met. Central Arkansas Truck Outfitters, 25633 I-30, alternative signage plan. That's by A Sun Company requesting recommendation for approval of alternative signage plan, and that was recommended approval. State Farm, 515 North Reynolds Road, non-standard building. Richardson Engineering requesting approval for non-standard building, recommended approval. Fleming Electric, 320 McClanahan Drive, site addition. Charlie Best requesting approval for a new driveway connection in Ward 3, and that was approved. Serenity Vapes, 6221 Highway 5, Suite 2, a sign permit, Neonic Sign requesting sign permit approval, and that was approved. Sparklight, 3519 Marketplace Avenue, sign permit. Teamwork Inc. requesting sign permit approval, that was approved. And last but not least, we have Coldwell Banker RPM Group at 2531 Marketplace Suite 400 sign permit, and that was staff approved.
Thank you, Andrea. We have no old business tonight. Our new business starts with agenda item number 9, Collective Church, Marketplace East Subdivision, Lot 4. Richardson Engineering is the engineer requesting a site plan approval in Ward 2. Colton, you want to start us with your comment?
Pulled up real quick. Pull up. So this is a site plan approval for a new church building. The overall site is about 3.49 acres, 3.5 acres. The building will be a little over 17,000 square foot in size, have a total of 141 parking spaces. The site plan itself is contingent upon the approval of the Marketplace East Subdivision final plat, which is final plat for that section there, which is located, as well as an approval of a waiver by Public Works staff on a stormwater requirement for the distance of a structure to the detention basin. And that's just approval at a staff level. It's not a waiver specifically for the Planning Commission. It is zoned correctly for C2, and the recommendation from DRC and from Planning is for approval.
How are y'all? Tristan Phillips here representing the owners of Collective Church and Richardson Engineering. So like Mr. Colton said, it's roughly 17,000 square feet, pretty good sized parking lot for the church. All the drainage is discharged into the existing regional pond to the south of the project. The city's also requiring us, we also did a little drainage reroute from the Hunters Crossing subdivision, kind of move that over to that regional detention pond off the neighbor. It's been causing some issues. Like Mr. Colton said, it's part of a commercial private subdivision that Mr. Bart's working on. They're almost done with that road, so we'll be final plating that here soon. And that is one of the contingencies upon that. We are also asking for that waiver for the distance from the pond. The ordinance states it has to be 100 feet and at least 2 feet. It's well above the 2 feet, but it is kind of a skinny property, so it does make it hard to try to get that building 100 foot off the pond.
How far back are you gonna be?
I think it's around 60 to 70 feet, something like that, I think, between the water's edge and the...
But you're going up
closest
higher
corner.
to accommodate for that?
Yeah, it's quite a bit above, just due to the grading of the project, it's quite a bit higher than that pond.
Okay.
And the elevation, the ordinance was written for flood management, water management more than distance,
Yeah.
correct? Since the grade is higher, we're not worried about that.
That's right. We don't have,
So we're good with all the drainage calcs, Kelly? Okay, good. Got the apples to apples?
yeah. Everything's good.
Great.
So the two contingencies that you, or the next meeting, you're coming for the distance from the pond, the waiver, and also for the final plat, hoping that the road will be completed. Was there another one?
No, that's it.
Any other questions of me?
Y'all did a good job. That answered every one of my questions. Just sitting up here quiet now.
Same as a recommended approval, I think, I guess a question, and there's, we feel like we can get the road finished by the next meeting, correct?
I think so. If the dry weather holds out, if this rain will stop, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Will. And that time frame's good? All right. Any other questions of the applicant? Okay, we'll have a roll call vote as presented.
Thompson,
Approved.
Johnson,
Yes.
Edwards,
Yes,
Irwin is absent. Speed,
Yes.
Hooten,
Yes.
Penfield,
Yes.
Patton.
Yes.
All right, it's approved, and we'll see you at next month.
Thank you.
Thank
Or
you.
especially if you get the road done. All right, item number 10 under new business, State Farm Insurance, 515 North Reynolds, non-standard building. Richardson Engineering is requesting an approval for a non-standard building.
Y'all don't need to leave, we're going to take an offering.
thank you guys for showing up.
That's what happens right before you're offering.
Our gun, Kristen, you can come on up. Colton's gonna,
Yeah, so this is the waiver for non-standard building approval at State Farm at 515 North Reynolds Road. This is just an approval for the non-standard building, which would be contingent on the site plan approval by DRC. This building is located behind the existing State Farm building, which is a brick facade building. It's going to be behind it and also lower in elevation than the Reynolds Road. So that's the reason for requesting the non-standard, to just have a metal building back there rather than meeting the commercial design standards on it.
You shouldn't be able to see that from the road, and it's mainly just for personal uses for the owner of the State Farm building, or office supplies if he needs to keep anything back there. We are having to move the employee parking lot behind the building just due to the width of the property and trying to get access back there to it. We had to cut out some parking on the south side, on the front side of the building, so we did move some parking for employees behind the building. Added the detention pond on there. Yeah, that's not the most updated plan. But we
This
did-
is the little bit older plan.
Yeah.
So
But we did add-
they have resubmitted for DRC.
yeah, it falls under the DRC approval criteria. So tonight, you're just here for the non-standard building.
Yep.
And then at the next DRC, you'll be on the agenda.
Yep.
I think because we tabled it there, because you're going to make some changes to that.
Yeah, and we'll also be on just to let y'all know, we'll also be on the June agenda for the variance, for as far as setback reasons. And because the school is currently in an R2 zone, I guess it's more of It's just been the R2 for a long time, I guess, whenever they started the school, and then they never really changed it. So I think between, this is the commercial zone C2 and the R2 residential commercial has to be 3 times the setback. So we are going to request that to be just a standard 25 feet instead of the 3 times. Of course, the building right now is around 60 feet, 61 feet from the property line, but he may want to add like a covered awning to park a trailer or something on the west side of that building where that 15-foot dimension is in the future.
So, translate a little for our commission members. During the meeting, the variance wouldn't fall within the timeframes, so we had to push the variance to the June meeting. Also in discussion, it was more of a staff, I think, and correct me, Ted, a recommendation, since the school is a quasi.
It's never going to be residential.
That's right. And so, you know, and then now our zoning calls for schools to really be in a different institutional zone, which has the typical commercial setback. And so it was going to.
Which is 25?
25, yes.
So basically, he's going to ask for the variance to adhere to that. And didn't fit the timing to get, with advertising, to get into tonight's meeting. So assuming they had the time, they were going to push that to the June meeting.
And I believe we have made that submittal, so I think I've coordinated that with Colton, so we should be on that.
Does there have to be a buffer at all? In that
Well-
20 in that,
The 25.
well, I mean like a landscape
Like a
buffer.
screening buffer? Well, due to the size of the property and the requirements for the detention basin, there's not really much room with the grade, because I think there's like a 7% grade change across that project, on the existing grade, about 7%. Once you get behind that building, it falls off pretty good.
Okay.
So to get the grade, by the time we run 3% for that parking lot, you know, that's kind of what we try to keep as max. Keep water runoff from getting too high and, you know, people from walking up steep slopes on the parking lot. By the time we grade that and then try to do our tiebacks with the detention pond and stuff, pinched in between that sewer line that runs down through there and that back parking lot,
Yeah,
the grades on the back side of the detention pond will probably be pretty close to the property line.
okay.
So, rein us back into the non-standard building, since we're going to have a public hearing on that, need to have opportunity for public if they're here to talk about it. Any questions on the material, the facade material? It's not visible from rentals or the rear or the sides.
I went by to look at it, I don't see how well you'd see it. It's way back there.
Same.
And I thought, you and I were talking a little bit today about a buffer, some tree buffers over there. Is that true?
So we're gonna, like I said, I think we're gonna try to keep something, but like I said, with the detention pond requirements and the slope, it's at the bottom of that slope. By the time we tow out on the backside, the detention pond's gonna be, I
Pretty
think it's gonna
close.
push us pretty close to the
Pretty
property.
close,
Yeah.
okay.
In order to meet the drainage requirements of the city. Mr. Troy said there's some drainage issues downstream, because we were originally gonna try to do an in lieu of fee, because since this is a relatively small project, but there is some drainage issues downstream, so we're gonna do the detention pond instead.
I know this has nothing to do with what we're voting on with the structure, but does the retention pond, I'm assuming it will be fenced since there's a school like right next door?
I think the school has.
There's already
They have a
existing.
fence.
Okay.
It'll be a drive.
Drive pond.
Colton,
Okay.
can you pull up the satellite view of that? It's a parking lot, isn't it, right behind it? It is.
Yeah, yes,
Yes.
yes.
Of course, that could be a
This is
building.
the property here, and then that's the parking lot. And then the school has a metal fence that goes all the way down their property line, and around this building as well. The same type of fencing is, you kind of see it a little bit in the shadows shown there.
Perfect.
And they do have some landscaping there too, the school does, as far as on their side of the property.
Right.
They will help screen too.
Yeah, there's a bit of a, I don't know, probably 15, 20 feet or so between the edge of that parking lot and where the property line is.
Any other questions regarding the facade material or visibility? All right, we'll have a roll call vote.
What,
Yes.
public hearing, is this public? Or is that, you're talking about next time's public, next month?
It would be the
This is for the non-standard
Right,
building.
the public would be the next.
The
Yeah.
variance is for the distance from the R2.
And that will be a public hearing?
Yes.
Advertised signs and all that?
This is just an approval by planning commission for the non-standard building, which if it gets approved tonight, they get that. And then they can do their site plan at the next DRC and then show up at the June planning commission meeting for a variance hearing.
Sorry, kind of
Got
complicated
it.
on that.
So,
No, you're good.
Give y'all all the
We were
information.
asking the questions, so it's okay.
Speed,
Yes.
Putin,
Yes.
Penfield,
yes.
Edwards,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Statton.
Yes.
See you next month.
Thank you.
Item 11 tonight, Central Arkansas Business Truck Outfitters, 25633 I-30, alternative signage plan. A sign company requesting approval for alternative signage plan. I would request a motion to table this tonight. The applicant couldn't be here.
As long as there's not an extra representative here tonight.
I didn't see, I asked, and didn't see anyone, so
Okay.
I'd entertain a motion to table.
I move it.
Second.
A motion second, any discussion? All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? One more motion would be in order.
We adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, aye.
Hey, we just need to-